to start with just a basic question. Mark, what happened? What went wrong?
So this was a major breach of trust, and I'm really sorry that this happened. We have a basic responsibility to protect people's data, and if we can't do that, then we don't deserve to have the opportunity to serve people. So our responsibility now is to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And there are a few basic things that I think we need to do to ensure that. One is making sure that developers like Alexander Kogan, who got access to a lot of information and then improperly used it, just don't get access to as much information going forward. So we are doing a set of things to restrict the amount of access that developers can get going forward. But the other is we need to make sure that there aren't any other Cambridge Analyticas out there, right, or folks who have improperly accessed data. So we're going to go now and investigate every app that has access to a large amount of information from before we lock down our platform. And if we detect any suspicious activity, we're going to do a full forensic audit. One of the things that I announced today is that we're going to do a full investigation into every app that had access to a large amount of data from around this time before we lock down the platform. And we're now not just going to take people's word for it and when they give us a legal certification, but if we see anything suspicious, which I think that there probably were signs in this case that we could have looked into, we're going to do a full forensic audit.
How do you know there aren't hundreds more companies like Cambridge Analytica that are also keeping data that violates Facebook's policies?
Well, I think the question here is, are app developers who people have given access to their data, are they doing something that people don't want? Are they selling the data in a way that people don't want? Or are they giving it to someone that they don't have authorization to do? And this is something that I think we now need to go figure out, right? So for all these apps,
that's got to be a hard, I got to say, that's going to be a really challenging ordeal. How do you actually go do that? Because you talk about it being years ago, and then you guys have made it a bit stricter for that kind of information to be shared. But backtracking on it, it's got to be really difficult to find out where that data's gone and what other companies have shady access.
Yeah, I mean, so as you say, I mean, the good news here is that we already changed the platform policies in 2014. But before that, we know what the apps were that had access to data. We know how many people were using those services. And we can look at the patterns of their data requests. And based on that, we think we'll have a pretty clear sense of whether anyone was doing anything abnormal. And we'll be able to do a full audit of anyone who is questionable. Increasingly important trend in the world. And I actually think the question is more, what is the right regulation rather than yes or no, should it be regulated?
What's the right regulation?
Well, there's some basic things, then I think that there's some big intellectual debates. On the basic side, there are things like ads transparency regulation that I would love to see, right? If you look at how much regulation there is around advertising on TV and print, it's just not clear why there should be less on the internet, right? You should have the same level of transparency required. And I don't know if a bill is going to pass. I know a couple of senators are working really hard on this. But we're committed, and we've actually already started rolling out ad transparency tools that accomplish most of the things that are in all the bills that people are talking about today. Because we just think that this is an important thing. People should know who is buying the ads that they see on Facebook. And you should be able to go to any page and see all the ads that people are running to different audiences.
How has being a father changed? Changed your commitment to users, changed your commitment to their future, and what a kinder Facebook looks like?
Well, I think having kids changes a lot. And
like what?
Well, I used to think that the most important thing to me by far was, my having the greatest positive impact across the world that I can. And now, I really just care about building something that my girls are going to grow up and be proud of me for. And I mean, that's what is kind of my guiding philosophy at this point is, when I come and work on a lot of hard things during the day and I go home and just ask, will my girls be proud of what I did today?